All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're going to start with an opening statement from Coach. After that, we'll come around for questions. Please raise your hand. We'll make sure we get to the mics to you so our folks at home can hear the questions. Coach?
First off, opening statements, I want to just talk about Steve. Steve's actually getting ready to get surgery in a couple hours. Just thankful that he's on our team, understanding knowing we'll have him for 2 more years. A really good football player, a great person. Just sad for him and his family. It's been a nice little journey with him for the time that we've had him to play, and I'm excited about the time they have to come back. If you know Steve from here and at Notre Dame, everyone will tell you he's a great person, just a great kid, class act. And sorry I had to go through it, but it's a part of the game, right? Part of football, part of playing sports, period. Just part of being a human, something that happens. Regarding the ACC fine, we issued out a statement and go through that. So I'm going to try to move on and not have to speak too much in reference to that. So I want to move on with that. And just excited and thankful that we get the opportunity to go out and play Duke. I think Duke's a really good football team. Manny Diaz is a really good football coach. Smart, intelligent man. His special teams coordinator, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. I think all those guys are like highly intelligent guys, right? They have a team full of just really good football players. I think they play the best football out of everyone we're about to go and play. They play together. You can see they care about each other. They play hard. They play physical, and they all do their jobs. They don't have too many mistakes on the football field. They play physical when you really look at them, and they play together. They run to the ball. On defense, they swarm the ball. On offense, they finish plays. Their receivers are very crafty. They can play well. They got 1, 2, 18, 7. All 4 of those guys are really good. The running backs, number 4, 9. They run the ball. Number 4 the other day, finished the game, closed it out with a long run, like a 60-yard touchdown run. I think on the defensive line, number 4 is a really good interior, but 97 and 9 do a really good job. And then just looking at the guys on the outside, number 2, number 0, on both sides of the ball, 0. But they got a bunch of really good football players. And I think this will be the biggest test for us, right, to make sure and see who we are with building the program. It's supposed to be a sold-out game, so when you got a sellout crowd, being able to come and see you play on Saturday at 12 o'clock, you can't ask for more. So excited about the opportunity that we have, excited I get the chance to be the head football coach and coach the team and at this university.
Questions? We'll start with Christian right in front.
Coach, after you named Steve the starter in training camp, you talked a lot about how Ricky responded to that and the response that he had and the work that he's put in ever since not being in the starter. How has that mentality helped him to be in the position that he is right now?
I think it helped a lot. I think he was able to help us finish out the game and win. He came in, he threw a touchdown pass. He had some key first down that he threw, and he was just able to command the offense, right? Make sure everybody listened in the huddle and went through it. And it just shows that you got to continue to have faith and just work really hard, and things may fall your way, right? Unfortunately, it had to happen this way because him and Steve grew a really tight relationship. They're watching tape together every night and doing different things, but I'm happy for Ricky. I'm excited for him. I thought he handled everything the right way, and no one deserves the opportunity more than he does.
What's his biggest improvement been since the start of the season?
Just his mental toughness. I'm understanding the fronts and things of that nature. He already has a huge arm, right? He can make every throw, really good at that. But him just being able to stay focused, and he accepted the fact that he was the number 2, and he said, you know what, it's better than what I was before. I'm just keep working. I know I'm a better football player, and I'll keep working. So when my time comes, I'm going to be ready, and he was ready when his opportunity came.
We'll go to Dan right in front, and then after that we'll go to Chris.
Fran, you made a statement about Steve Angeli and just what he's been. He was leading the country in passing yards. Jeff Nixon, we've seen this 2 years in a row with his offense, with Kyle McCord leading the nation, and now Steve Angeli. I know he's not here right now, and you said you're hoping for 2 more years, but just what you can say about what he did in these first few games and what it means for the future of Syracuse football to know his talent already showed itself.
I think that he did an amazing job. First and foremost, I think our offensive staff does a really good job. I think Jeff Nixon is an outstanding man, football coach, father, husband. Like whatever he does it with all that he has, right? And then all the guys that help him, our co-coordinator, Mike Johnson, could say the same things, right? But when it comes to just what we do on offense, I know you said for the future, I think you're going to see that continue, right? It'll continue with Ricky. It wasn't like a huge difference of why we picked the guy, right? It took me some time to pick the quarterback. So I'm very thankful that we had two, right? I'm lucky and thankful that we had two, and I hope things will continue to go. You got to come in, take some punches, take a couple little shots here and there, but we'll be fine. And I think that our coordinators, you just spoke highly of the offensive coordinator and our co-coordinator, and I feel the same way. And I think Nuns is a really good quarterback coach. So Ricky will continue to move that on.
And to follow with that, you had made mention beforehand that when you stay with the team, you're the next man up. If you leave, if you transfer, you may be one play away from the opportunity. Davian Kerr steps up in the Clemson game, gets that interception, and he worked to have a role on this team. Ricky stays with this team, and now he's the starting quarterback. Just what it means to have a true family of guys that if they don't have the starting job, they're working to have that place. And we saw Ricky come up, finish the game strong, and Davian as well.
I think that exemplifies Syracuse, right? When you talk about Syracuse and just what goes on for years and years and years, there's always been people that just kept working and kept working and went. So it's a lot of diamonds in the rough, and then all of a sudden you see and realize and know who you are. I think that Davian Kerr has continued to work. When he played last year and he got in the game, caught an interception for us versus Cal, if I'm not mistaken, was able to start from there. And then coming out the first two games, he started, though. Like, he was our nickel. And then we moved him over to be able to play some corner because that's where he's a little more comfortable at right now. And it just shows just keep working. I hope that – see, like, everyone on the team doesn't think that way, right? So, like, Ricky's just happens to be the one that's opposite. We got a lot of kids on the team that are upset they may not be playing. I'm dealing with the same thing that everybody else would deal with. But you just hope that since they can see it happen so close – that it makes more people gravitate to that, right? You hope that that becomes contagious and it doesn't become contagious to, I'm not playing, I'm going in the portal, right? It's just like, yo, let me stick it out because my time will come, right? Especially I'm a freshman or sophomore, or guys such as Ricky and Davian Kerr, who both had 3 years left, and now look at their trajectory, right? They're in now playing. Who knows what happens if you go other places? You got to start all over. You got to be comfortable with the area, comfortable with the coaching, things of that nature. And for them to stay here and do that with me, it was cool, right? I'm a aggressive, demanding coach, so I'm very happy that they that those guys stuck it out.
Fran, I know there have been reports, but Steve's injury, is it a ruptured Achilles, a torn Achilles? What is it?
Just his Achilles, he's getting surgery right now, and when they exactly know what exactly it is, then they'll give the information, but he went to get surgery, so I don't want to sit up here and say one thing and then it's opposite, and I just don't want to be held accountable. I've been being held accountable a lot lately, so I got to lock in a little more, right?
So you don't necessarily know like what a time frame would look like until the surgery happens, probably.
He getting the surgery today.
But like recovery, like when he would expect to be.
I mean, usually that recovery is about 6 months, something of that nature completely before he goes back and get it done. I think he'll be ready, hopefully in spring ball, some of that nature. That's why I look at spring ball or right after spring ball.
And then he obviously tried to gut through a first injury in that game. Do you guys think the two are related at all? Did him trying to gut through that first injury contributed to the second?
I'm not sure. I'm not a medical. Like, I coached the game, so I couldn't tell you that, right? I'm not sure.
Do you know what was the first one, a knee or a calf, or do you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I forget. I was just focused on the Achilles.
Yeah.
Chris, you can pass it right back to Samantha, and then after that, we're going to go to Maddie right in back.
Coach, it says in this press release that Syracuse accepts the fine. I want to know, does that acceptance mean that you're also acknowledging wrongdoing, going along with Dart, holding yourself accountable?
No, I'm just really trying to focus on Duke right now, right? For me, I'm trying to move on. We got a tough football team coming. I think the toughest team that we had a chance to play. So those things happened in the last game. We put the statement out, and I just want to stick to everything that was in the statement and get an opportunity. That's why I'm thankful that our athletic director and everybody made sure that we got a statement put out because they want us to move on and get ready for our next opponent.
So that means you're not acknowledging or accepting that?
No, I'm just trying to worry about Manny Diaz.
We'll go to Maddie in
He's
back.
a good football coach.
Hey, Fran. Looking at this Duke team, you said that it was probably going to be the biggest challenge for your team so far. What is it about, the Blue Devils coming off a big win this weekend that makes them so challenging, especially it being a sold-out home game this week?
I just think they're highly intelligent athletes that love to compete. Their coaches created a really good culture there. They won 9 games last year. This is his second time as a head football coach. He's been a DC all over. He has a really good offensive coordinator who was at SMU and done a real good job there when he was there. And now he's doing a good job here. Special teams coordinator who was just a prominent high school football coach who knows the game of ball. So I understand. I just know who we're going up against and the type of guys they are, right, and how they love the game of football. And, it's sort of a rival football game too, right? It's an ACC game, opportunity to be able to compete to get to a conference championship. And anytime you see anything with Duke and Syracuse get an opportunity to compete against each other, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, whatever it may be, track, whatever we're going against them, it's always got to be it's a little bit of rivalry there.
Now that Ricky's the starting quarterback, to have kind of the crowd support behind him, how big is that to be able to have, his first game as a starter here at Syracuse be a sold-out home game?
It's fun. It's gonna be fun. I think he's been in it, right? He played at LSU, so he understands that. He understands and knows what that looked like. He shadowed Jaden Daniels, shadowed Myers around. He shadowed 2 really good quarterbacks, so he understands that. And he got a chance to see Kyle here last year. And then over the last 4 weeks, he's been able to be right behind Steve and handle that also. So I think there's no better place for him to be but to be here. And most importantly, he got my support, right? He's number 2 in command right now. I believe in him 100%. I'm very thankful that he gets an opportunity to play. Happy that it's him. I'm sad that Steve had to go, but I'm very thankful and I'm so supportive. I think our whole staff, the entire building, we comfortable. We know who Steve is and we know what he's about, right? When someone works really, really hard, it's like, all right, let's go,
We'll go to Aiden right in front.
Hey, Coach, just looking beyond Ricky, do you have a solidified answer? Who would be the backup? And if not, just what have you seen from the competition in the room between Jakari, Luke, and Rich as well?
I just think they're all competitive, and we'll figure that out over the next 2 days. We kind of got an ideal, because I think Luke's been kind of leading that way a little bit, but Jakari's right there also. So, and then you'll have days where Rich will just come out and be look like Joey Hamilton out there, just doing really well. So we got to figure that out. It's something that we're going through right now. So I couldn't pick any one specific kid right now because they're all doing a really good job. But what I do know is they're all tough and will compete. And Coach Nuns will get them ready to be able to see who's going to be the guy.
Yeah, and then just looking at Steve, obviously, I'm sure he's going to be dealing with the recovery and stuff like that. But how do you think his presence can kind of act as somewhat of a additional coach or a quarterback's coach, being in that room with the younger guys and then Ricky as well, especially?
We're going to do what you said. We're going to do that. That was our mindset already, to keep him around. He'll be everywhere. He'll go everywhere. He got to be at practice every day. The only day he's going to miss is the day, and as long as they have him out, outside of that, he's at every practice, he's in every meeting, he's still going to play him, because I think the best teacher for him, for Ricky, is going to be Steve. Just like Nuns does an amazing job, but there's nothing like having a guy who's your peer that understands and sees what you're seeing and you can talk to and go through it. So he'll be the biggest help, and the type of guy he is with his heart, he's going to do everything he can to make sure that Ricky succeeds.
Welcome to Third Row WAER.
So, Coach Ewan and Coach Diaz nearly crossed paths back in 2019.
Say that again?
Coach Diaz and you nearly crossed paths back in 2019. He took the Temple job and then was offered Miami, took it, and then you, of course, ended up being on Rod Carey's staff that season. So there's sort of some connective tissue there. Do you have very much background with Coach Diaz? What's your, what's your sort of relationship like with him?
We cool. I could always call him and talk to him. We see each other. We would sit down. We at the ACC head coaches meetings. I'm gonna go sit with him, stuff like that, and we'll talk to each other. There's a mutual level of respect. He decided to hire me there. He left. For me, I wanted to stay in my area at the moment. So we good. Like, he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a great man. Our kids got to know each other a little bit real quick. My wife and his wife know who each other are. So, like, you know, I got respect for him. I like him a lot. You said, unfortunately, I had to stay at Temple. I wouldn't look at that as, unfortunately, that was a good deal. Getting a chance to work under Rod Carey. So I got to learn a lot from him, but I stayed up here, and that's kind of how I am where I'm at now because of Rod being a kind guy and wanting to keep me on the staff once he got there.
Well, Javon on the end.
Fran, is there a plan for Steve once he's physically able to still travel with you guys for away games and kind of, as Aiden said, kind of help Ricky and the guys once he's able to start traveling?
I mean, all right, let me answer this the right way. Yeah, we have a detailed plan for him after he comes back. I'm gonna make sure that he's gonna be like a quarterback coach because he'll be right there next to Ricky because if he can make sure that Ricky, he's the number one guy that Ricky's gonna feel confident listening to because it'll be one of his peers that are doing it. And then he's already seen him do it. And I believe that us having this plan, him traveling, him being everywhere, him doing everything, he just can't play, it'll help him mentally. Because the first and foremost, the number one thing that's important right now is Steve Angeli's mental. We got to make sure that mentally he stays focused and locked in. It's hard for anyone to go from here and just feel like you're here, even though he's going to be even higher because he's actually going to have more wisdom and understanding. But just the feeling of that is hard for a young man to go through at 21 years old. So we got a full plan from the mental health to him getting back on the field, of rehab, to just being around the guys, to doing everything. He's pretty much going to be a GA for the next 9 months until it's time for him to get back on the field. But I'm going to take care of all areas to make sure that he's a complete man. He's already going to be online academically, so that way we can keep him straight and have everything being able to heal the right way. Does that answer the question?
And for the last few months, you mentioned earlier, you've been saying you feel like you have two quarterbacks that can go out there and win you a game. Steve's no longer one of those two. It's going to be either Luke, Rich, Jakari, whichever one you decide before Friday. Do you still have that same faith that you have two quarterbacks that can go out there and win you a football game?
We're going to always have two quarterbacks that can help us win a game. Whoever that other quarterback may be, then that'll be him. I mean, we might end up with three. I'm not sure of that. But again, the name of the game is to develop. And as long as we continue to develop them mentally and physically, then we'll have the guys that are needed to help us go out and just be able to have one more point than our opponent.
Go to Brett in front and then Zach right after that.
Fran, I know you said the statement speaks for itself. Faking injuries was something in college football that was universally accepted that they had to make a rule about it. I'm just wondering how you feel that the ACC chose Syracuse to make an example of it.
I'm just trying to focus on Manny Diaz and his staff and their players. You know, I felt what I don't want to do is take away from the fact of our players going out and winning a game against one of the better teams in the country, one of the better programs in the country, one of the best coaches in the country. You know, they won 8 out of the last 10 8 out of the last 10 conference championships. They won 2 national championships. So I don't want to take that away from them of what our players done. I try to make it, you know, less than what it is or, you know, minimize that. They made a decision that whatever decision they make, and as our administration says that's what we're going to go with, I got to follow that. And we're going to follow exactly what, you know, we said, and we came out with that statement. And I got to do what Mr. Wildheck stated for me to make sure we move on, and let's focus on Duke.
Take questions on Duke from Zach.
Fran, obviously you had the onside kick against Clemson in terms of the aggressiveness. What have you seen in terms of the buy-in from your team on special teams so far this year?
They're doing a good job. Our special teams coordinator, Ricky Brumfield, his assistants, they work their butts off. The kids are believing more, they're working more. It's tough for some people to get that done, but he's getting them to buy in and have fun and get that done. I think what Mr. Jacobs, Coach Jacobs actually, coming on staff that has helped us a lot, especially with our kicking game. Our kickers are confident, understanding and knowing someone that has done it here and has done it at a high level is able to be out there and help compete with us. That means a lot also. So we just all bought in, right? It's the heartbeat of the football team, and we got to keep getting better at it, though. We all made a vow and agreement this morning that we was going to make that be. We got to step that up a little bit more. I think that Duke's special teams is really good, really good.
And you talked about in terms of last week, you said Clemson had one of the best defensive lines in the country.
Yeah.
How do you think your group sort of has been gelling in terms of the offensive line for you guys, and how do you think they performed last week, and how do you think they've kind of grown throughout the year so far?
I think they're getting better every week. I think last week was a great job. But honestly, we got to move on. Like Duke is waiting, and they want us to keep worrying about that. They want us to focus on that. We got to focus on Duke. They come here to play. They probably got the better quarterback in the country, right? One of the best in the country. So there's a lot of work that we got to make sure we do on defensive side of the ball to be able to stop these guys. They're a high-power offense. They got a quarterback that can throw and run, and so we got our hands full, and they come to our place.
Take two more, one question each from Cooper and then Dan to finish.
Fran, how have you seen your young cornerbacks mature through 4 weeks so far? Guys like Demetrius, Brahim Long, and Davian Kerr, just with a lot of responsibility in your secondary. How do you feel like they've matured with that responsibility?
Well, BJ plays safety. The young corner is Demetrius, and then it'd be Chris, right? Davian Kerr goes in. He plays corner and he plays nickel.
Young secondary guys.
Young secondary,
yeah.
you're saying? I got you. I think they're doing a good job. They're getting better, right? We got a long way to go from what we want it to look like, what we all envision it looking like. But I think every week they're getting better, and I'm proud of them. I'm happy for them. I want them to play better this week than they played last week. And I want them to continue to get better. I want them to do better in the classroom this week than they did last week. You know, everything's a constant rise, right? We can't stay the same. The standard's consistently rising. So we're excited. I'm excited about them, though. I like what they're doing. I like how they're playing. I like that they play well together, and they're starting to communicate almost to where I want them to be communicating with each other at.
And then last question to Dan right in front.
Fran, looking at the rushing attack, Yasin Willis and Will Nixon, just what they've done to complement each other and what Ricky Collins can bring to that option that he has with his legs as well, just what the versatility is in the rushing attack as you head into Duke.
It's going to be fun. We'll figure that out, though, right? That's up to Coach Nixon, and then that's kind of on the defense of what they give us that we see if we're able to take. I do think that having Willis and Nixon both running the ball, they complement each other well. We got some other guys that should be getting in there soon, but I think those guys do a heck of a job. And with Ricky, you know, Ricky's a passer first, so he just happens to be able to run, but Ricky got an arm. Like, he's not really a runner all the time. That's what people think, but Ricky throw that ball. Like, that's the main thing that we're going to have to get done with Ricky. He likes to throw the ball.
All right, thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
You're on in a second for player requests.